But we had some huge penalties to kill field position. We lost the field position battle in the first half. And you had one drive start on the 35, the other one was tied inside the 50. You know, credit to them was, you know, they converted on 5 of 7 third downs in the first half, and you know, some of them were shots that we had guys in great coverage, were draped around. A guy makes a nice throw, the receiver makes a nice catch, and you got to give hats off for that part. But there were several opportunities I thought we had to get off the field on third downs. We didn't, and just couldn't seem to get anything going on offense in the first half. So we dug ourselves kind of huge hole there, obviously at 28-3, and I liked the way our kids battled back in the second half. We continued to fight. We continued to play. We still made some mistakes in the second half, but we eliminated some of them, but we still made some that kind of shot us, still continued to shoot us in the foot. But I thought there were some positives coming out. One, I thought we saw a talented team in Tulane, who's probably be as talented as anybody we'll see all year long. And we got that early, so it gives us a good gauge of where we're at and what we need to do in positions. And some guys, you know, who matches up well against that talent and who doesn't, and also got us in a pretty good environment to where the pressure was on our kids, and see how they responded in that. And you know, what we got to do is learn from our mistakes, learn from the things we didn't do well, coaches too, or things we didn't do well or I didn't do well in preparing them. Why obviously we had so many mistakes, but you got to evaluate that and go back to the drawing board and look forward to get on the practice field and get to play again this week. And I'll open the door up for questions.
How troubling are all those penalties? I mean,
well, yeah, you know, some of them, you know, I can, like I said, anytime we're talking penalties, you know, a guy being aggressive and, you know, I don't know, hands get a little outside as the offensive lineman gets a hold, or sometimes a kid jumps, you know, on defense, gets called off, but the false starts at critical times we should have been locked in, you know. We're going for it on 4th down one time. We ended up having to kick the field goal. The personal fouls some of them were ridiculous. A couple of blocking the backs on punt, 2 blocking the backs in punt. We got 2 horse collars. I mean, you just, you know, you can't do that stuff. You're not going to do that stuff and compete for a championship. You're not going to do that. I mean, you're going to lose versus good football teams. They're going to find you're putting yourself behind 8 ball. You're not going to have an opportunity to win. So it's a little frustrating, but like I said, I don't think nothing our kids didn't do, you know, consciously go out there and say, hey, I'm going to go do this. I don't know if the pressure got to them or what, or the frustration after the game got rolling that it wasn't going as they planned, but we obviously didn't handle it very well, and we'll do a better job.
How did you come out physically?
Physically came out pretty good, except for Harlan Miller. He left the game with a shoulder. He dislocated his shoulder, and so he'll be done for a couple weeks.
Who moved into that spot every time to move behind?
Well, we've been playing. Denzel Thompson and Derek Raymond have been, you know, playing a bunch and starting. They both started, and so that's all we did was move one of them to the other side. And then you got a chance. He's played. Ryan Seegers has played, but he's a redshirt freshman, and he'll get thrown. Obviously, get more playing time before conference hits and see where he's at.
You got to move one of those safeties. Is it Maurice? Is that?
Well, Mo can go out there because he started several games for us last year at corner, so he can go out there and play corner. Oh, we're good about that. We feel comfortable with those 3 that we got right there, and if we have to play Mo out there some, then we can do it.
He would be the 4th.
He would be the next guy. Yeah, he'd be the 4th guy.
What did you see on from your offensive line? I know you knew you were going to have some trouble, but you had a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how concerned you are about.
Yeah.
What did it look like on film?
A lot of it was there was some missed assignments, missed steps. I mean, sometimes, you know, on our films it looks like, you know, 77's just blowing and they're making plays, and he was, but it was because he wasn't touched. We didn't block him. It wasn't like, you know. So a couple of miscues that looked really bad and turned into some sacks. We missed some pressure. Guys coming, didn't even touch the backer. You know, which, you know, forced Brian into rush throws. Not go through his progression, take some sacks. So it wasn't by far, but you don't want to point at one position because it was across the board. Everybody kind of contributed to it, you know. But it wasn't one of our best games up front, obviously. Some of that's due to them. They were good players. They were really good players up front. And then the defensive end, I don't even know his first game he played in, but he's a heck of a football player. So now, we knew going in, we thought the two inside guys would, could give us some fits. But we knew it was going to be a good challenge for us. See where we're at. You add in the defensive end, who I thought he played. He's a pretty good player. I don't know, the 6'8", 6'7" kid or whatever he is, just didn't play well. But I mean, like I could say the same thing about our receivers blocking on the perimeter, or running backs, or quarterback, or D-line, or I mean, it goes across the board. So
you've been juggling guys on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of stability would look a little more,
Mm-hmm.
would look better. But I mean, are you comfortable that you got the right guys now? And
there's still some competition going. There's still some things going where we still have the right five makeup where we're at. So we're looking at some things, and we have been. So we'll continue to do that. But we have 8 guys that can play. We have 8 guys. We have 8 that have played quite a bit, and somewhere in those 8, we got to find the right fit and who's going to gel the best together. Yeah.
You were in this situation, the timetable was pretty close, but
Yeah.
lost 2 in a row. In terms of getting near the conference, and you had a lot of things to clean up that you
Yep.
would fix, and not let them persist and become
Yep.
the conference.
Right.
When you look at trying to address these things this week, to get them, this is the next game. It's a big game in terms of not letting these linger.
Right.
And just about how it's almost simultaneous, like you had a loss, and then conference, and you want to get it fixed.
Yeah. I mean, that goes. I mean, you can say, yeah, last year this time we probably coming off a loss to South Dakota State, in which we went in there and we didn't play very well. We turned, in that case, it was a little bit different. We turned the ball over a bunch of times and had some penalties, some real costly penalties, same type of thing, and still had an opportunity to win the game. And that's what our guys got to realize, that even doing that, we still had an opportunity to win the Tulane game. We had opportunities to get back in that thing and win it, and still didn't click the switch didn't click on to get it done in the 4th. There's something. All we do right now, we can get back on the practice field. Take a look at how we're preparing certain guys. The guys got to look at how they're preparing for games to make sure they're playing their best. And right now, to me, it's all. They're all things we can control. They're within our control to change them, and we got to do that if we find out how good we want to be.
Looking at Southeast Missouri State, the Kansas game kind of jumps at you.
Yeah.
A little bit. What did you see in that game particularly?
Well, he's got them playing really hard. I mean, that's a big thing. When you look at them up front, they matched up well because they're big and physical up front. They're big, physical, D-line, big physical. The offensive line is big. They play really hard. They got some physical running backs, big guys, 240. I think the quarterback also adds a little to him because he's got a little escape dimension. He can get out on his feet, and a pretty good athlete. Can get out of bad plays and move around and extend some plays. I think they got one receiver that he had 170 some yards versus Kansas. He's a really good player. He creates a little problem for you. And I think defensively, I think their corners are really good, and I think they're big up front. Which usually is a pretty good combination.
They look pretty young, in their lines. So
Yep.
A lot of sophomores and stuff. I guess we hope that that experience might come into play with them last week.
Yep. I mean, I said the biggest thing for them, I think is that I don't, how young the kid is, but I think they've got some guys that have been in the fire and played, and he's got them playing hard. And I think the biggest thing that probably stands out to me was, if you watch their special teams, how hard they're playing on special teams. So obviously, his new coach is created some energy in the program, and they're bought in because they're playing really hard on special teams. And I think that's usually the take when you watch teams.
What are they operating out of offensively?
They're most they'll do some spread stuff. They'll do multiple personnel, 1 tight end, 2 tight ends. They'll get 4 wides. They'll do it all. I mean, they're multiple personnel, but they're a spread kind of option attack. Yeah, and they're gonna. But I really expect them to run the football versus us. I think they're gonna run it very heavily, and unless they don't have any success.
How about defensively?
Defensively, they're odd man front. They're all, and not a bunch of pressure. I mean, they have brought some pressure, but they're not a pressure team. Probably a lot like, they may be very similar to the stuff we saw versus South Dakota State as far as they're going to be an odd front, but they're not going to bring pressure. That's what they end up going to. They've got two good corners. Like I said, and they're big up front. That's probably their biggest things. They got some youth at linebacker. They got some. I think they have one of them I think there's a true freshman in there playing. They played pretty stingy at times, and then they played really well. I think in Kansas, especially the second half, they played really well. And then you turn around last week versus Southern Illinois, they kind of got it handed to them by Southern Illinois up there and put 50 on them. So they're physical and they can play with you. Like I said, for us to just come out, we got to. There's so many plays last week. I hate to keep going back to. There's so many plays last week. We didn't block a guy. We missed an assignment. We didn't. Not that we tried to block and he threw us off. We didn't block him. So and a team like that, or most teams you play, so if they're good enough, you don't block that guy. He's good enough to make the play. You got a problem. Sometimes we can get away with that because we got athletic guys and they can make that guy miss. But we happened way too many times last Saturday. That's the biggest thing for us. Offensively, there's guys that we had too many mistakes where we did not block the guy, and we got a chance for a big play.
Did they just? My sense was they mostly just brought 4 Tulane.
Most of the time, they just brought 4. They had some 5 and 6, but most of the time it was 4.
Yeah.
Yep. Then they got us in 3rd long. That's when they brought a little pressure. Yep.
How anxious are you? It's great when things are rolling the line and you win and things are going. But how anxious are you to test the character of the kids this week to get back to where you were and with conference play a week away, just to go back in line with the level of play you want to see in the
Well, I think it's huge to see how we do respond, because that's the test of it. I mean, really, because it won't be the first time we'll see adversity. Well, maybe not a loss, but you're going to go into a game and somebody's going to get up on you, and they're going to get the better of you in the first half. That's going to happen, and you're going to have to come back. That's just the nature of the game, But I'm excited to see how we respond to this. And I don't know, they're looking forward to just get back on the field and playing. Hopefully it's a wake-up call to get us to get. I mean, I say that, heck, it was an FBS opponent, and but the biggest, probably toughest part is that we expected to win that ball game going in. We thought we were a better football team than them, and we played poorly. So that's probably the toughest thing for our kids and our coaching staff to swallow.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a testament to where you think you've got the kids thinking mentally that it's a 22 different scholarship differential, but not necessarily you feel like talent-wise.
Right.
You were right there with them.
Yep.
Coach, first real road trip ahead, coming off last week, ability to take that time and gel with your players a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a 7-8 hour bus ride, and I think it's going to be good. It's going to come at the right time where we can get out of town and get them away from everybody and get locked into this football game and get to spend some time together as a team and get an opportunity to play a quality opponent.
I wonder what your thoughts are when you see the situation in Nichols with Charlie and all that, and, the nature of the business being that you almost work yourself to death. Does that personalize a little bit when you see another coach that runs into that? Well,
yeah. I mean, I think there's always constant reminders of things that you got to keep things in perspective, and that. I don't know his specific situation and what happened there. I mean, but that's something obviously you always got to be kind of that you got to, you got to keep things in balance, and you better keep them in perspective, we got to enjoy it, we got to enjoy we'll go to practice, you got to enjoy preparing and playing. Players, coaches, everybody involved in it. It is time consuming, but you got to find ways to make sure you're putting things in perspective and don't put too much on it. Like for us, same thing. Yeah, we had a loss. It was a heartbreaking loss, but it's not the end of the world. And it's not the end of our season, and it's not going to define us, and it's not going to stop where we're going, where our goals are. But it's a setback.